pink cell phone wasn't there. It was part of the evidence the police had. Bianca had taken the clothes and a dozen pairs of shoes off the floor, washed the underwear and pajamas and put them all away. Since then, they hadn't touched anything. At odd hours, he would go in there and sit on the bed and think about her short life, her infant years, her growing up years, her typical teens, how fast they gone by. He tried to think about specific incidents that were especially good, but all he could manage was a blur of memories. And then his eyes would fill in and would get up and leave, walking stiffly like an old man. Harold remembered the rabbi saying once after prayers, "It's common to feel that you are somehow to blame. The Talmud says this is not true. None of this is your fault." Maybe the old rabbis were wise, but their words did not convince him. He felt he should have been able to do something that would have prevented her death. He had not been a good enough father. He had not told her enough. He had not held her enough when she was a baby. He had not played with her enough. He had not understood her enough. He had not loved her enough. This secret guilt, it was almost funny. A Jew who didn't believe in God but still had the guilt. It was the only secret that he ever kept from Bianca. He had not told her because he thought it would only bring him more pain. There were nights when they would sit side by side on the couch and not talk. He would begin to shake his head from side to side, groaning sounds would break from his mouth, and uncontrollable tears. Harold watched the man with I don't know how that happened. I didn't double check.
No. Well, tell us what the missing page said.
I really can't. I have to go on because I really don't. There's 2 pages missing. But essentially, what happens is that he waits for their trial to start, and the trial has started. Harold watched the man who had murdered his daughter being led into the courtroom. Oh, it's that scene where he envisions him. He's sitting in there watching the murderer being tried, and he envisions having him being an inquisitor at the Inquisition and torturing him, putting him on a rack and hearing his bones crack. And then he feels very, that's so good right now. Or was that coming right now? I'm really getting screwed up there, sorry. Let's go to the trial. Harold watched the man who had murdered his daughter being led into the courtroom every morning and watched him being let out every afternoon. He looked innocuous like a teller in a bank. Harold guessed his lawyers had dressed him up in a suit and tie and had him shave his beard so that he would appear average. Harold struggled not to picture them together, this average guy who was a foot taller and weighed twice as much as his 5-foot, 100-pound daughter. But sometimes an image would slip through the barricade he had erected, and he could see it all happening as if in slow motion.
A little louder, please.
The casual approach, the abduction, and the rest of it. During the trial, Harold stared at the murderer and thought about how he would like him to suffer. But his imagination was not up to the task. All he could think of was pain. That was important, extreme pain. And when after 5 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty of rape, sodomy, and murder, and the judge sentenced him to 37.5 years to life, Harold felt that only partial justice had been done. Bianca went online and found POMC, Parents of Murdered Children. There were chapters all over the country. Their purpose was to provide support for others who had experienced similar tragedies. Grief is a part of life, they say. Your grief is unique to you. We will avoid giving advice. We will listen and not interrupt. Listening to others is a good growth experience too. Support means we will walk with each other. We will not try to change you or how you feel. Anger, depression, and other feelings are real. Harold was skeptical, but Bianca insisted that it would be good for him. They went to several meetings. Harold listened but did not speak. Then one day he stood up. I dream all the time about what I'd like to do to the man who killed my daughter, he said. He spoke slowly in a voice just above a whisper, the words coming out of him as if he were just a mouthpiece and someone else was speaking. I wish I could take him to the very edge of death and then bring him back to life again. I would do this the way they did it in the Inquisition. I would put him on a rack and stretch him until I could hear his spine crack like a chicken bone. I would slice him into 1,000 pieces, each slice slow and bloody, and measure so that the pain would grow in intensity. And then I would hear him scream. Harold sat down and closed his eyes. He was suddenly sorry he had spoken. For 1 full year before the trial, Harold went to the synagogue each morning at 6 a.m. and recited the Kaddish. Although he was not a member of the congregation, the regulars knew why he was there and welcomed him. Every day he thought, there is no God, so why am I doing this? Could it be that he was hoping to find something that would help him, even if it wasn't God? When the year was up, it was time for the unveiling of the tombstone. The rabbi who had officiated at Alyssa's funeral did the service. He still looked too young and callow, but Harold accepted his being there. A large number of relatives and friends came. At other